Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, depending on wherever you're joining us. This is Diary of Hackers, Diary 5. You're all welcome. We hope you have a wonderful time today. Um, Please, guys, if you can hear me, kindly indicate on the chat box. If you can hear me, please kindly indicate in the chat box so we can get started. All right, cool. Thank you, Hafiz. Diary of Hackers, Diary 5. Today, we'll be talking about cybersecurity as a force for good. The first step to achieving success in this particular field is having the right mindset. Knowing fully well that policing the cyberspace lies in the hand of digital security experts. Many things have been happening in the space, and it actually calls for cybersecurity experts to be able to police the cyberspace. There's a need for us all to be championed with a mindset that thinks nothing other than ethical, as cybersecurity is no longer merely a tech issue, but that of the mindset. Let me quickly tell us a story. Yesterday, somebody just called me, a friend of a friend of a friend called me that can I send money to somebody and then convert it to something, and then before they can be able to transfer it to another person. And immediately I saw that thing, I was broke, and it's a temptation that, all right, it's something I can do to earn money for myself. So why not just take it? So, but my mind was telling me that, guy, this stuff is not really pure. Immediately, I text one of my mentor. That is why it's good to have mentors. I texted to him, and the guy replied. The first thing he replied with, "Is it legal or illegal?" Unfortunately for me, I did not ask the guy that, is this thing pure or not? So the guy was like, oh, he doesn't know. So let him link me up. And I say, okay, fine. Whatever the case be, just let me know. So the guy now called me later after like 30 minutes that he's sorry. The stuff doesn't sound legal to him, but he can still link me up with the person. So up to now, I've not really gotten in touch with the person. So what am I trying to say? Temptation might come. You will be tempted with many things, but the ability to say no is something that make you to stand out in the space. And that's what cybersecurity is all about. While we wait for our speaker to get in, let's quickly have this short video as requested by the speaker. All right, so stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
September 11th, 2001 terror strikes set the tone for warfare in the 21st century. But the 21st century has also seen the rise of another kind of warfare. Warfare that lets nations and loners do battle without guns or bombs. These days, the biggest threat we face may be a rogue actor with a laptop and a desire to wreak havoc.
Cyber warfare is probably the greatest challenge that we have as far as our nation's national security is concerned. We have an advantage over every other form of competition with possible allies, except one, and that's cyber warfare. And when you see the potential of what a successful cyber attack can achieve, it's enough to make you deeply concerned.
This is going to be the new battlefield, an unseen, invisible battlefield where teams of hackers from various nations will duel.
In 2010, a computer virus named Stuxnet demolished a secret Iranian nuclear weapons plant. hackers at Symantec Corporation unraveled its mysteries.
What made Stuxnet different was it didn't just stick to the cyber world. It actually breached and caused sort of real-world kinetic damage. It's nothing that we had ever seen before. And so Stuxnet just began spreading all around the world onto Windows machines everywhere. But what it was doing was it was also looking for something else. It was looking for these things that are called PLCs, or these small computers that control things like factories, like the power grid.
What you see here is the code that is put onto the PLC, and this is the normal process. Code goes onto the PLC, turns the PLC on or off, and controls it.
When we first got the code, it's literally zeros and ones. You know, it's sort of unintelligible. It was only later that we were able to determine that actually this code was targeted specifically at Iran's uranium enrichment plant in Natanz.
Uranium enrichment facilities are very secure facilities. It's not like they're connected to the internet. You can't get your code in and out in that way. So one of the ways Stuxnet was able to get into the facility was via USB key. So it was able to infect USB keys, and then somebody would bring USB key with them into the secure facility, not realizing it was infected, plug it into a computer inside, and then that computer inside would be infected.
You know, we don't know definitively who is behind Stuxnet, but it's very clear that it's a nation state, and it's nation states that had something against Iran. And it's likely that it isn't a single nation state. You have to remember as well with cyber warfare that the sort of barrier to entry is quite low. If a country wants to do something like build a nuclear missile, that's actually quite difficult. But when you talk about something like cyber warfare, it's actually quite cheap and quite easy for a country to develop a cyber weapon. And that cyber weapon can have equivalent effects. You could have a cyber weapon potentially shut down the power grid, for example, on the whole East Coast. New York is out. Wall Street is out. All your banks are out. You can't even withdraw money. You know, you can imagine people panic starting and people trying to get cash. You can't get cash. ATMs aren't working. Then things like your water waste treatment plants aren't working. There's no clean water. There's going to be a run on stores. Stores potentially aren't even operating. Your credit card's not going to work at the store. There'll be absolutely mass panic.
If you can blind the U.S. military, if you can shut down our GPS and our computer networks, our military is basically unable to function. And it could take days or weeks to get those systems back up and running. They can do tremendous damage. They can defeat your armies, your fleets, your air forces by simply blinding them, by taking down their cyber systems. I think that's a huge risk that we face.
With cyber war, I always think one of the most effective ways to fight against cyber is to find the computer and the operator and put a bullet through both of them.
All right, welcome back, everybody. While we wait for the speaker of today to join in, a brief about the speaker. Mr. Jamiu Lekan works with the as an IT officer of the United Arab Emirates United Arab Emirates, the Abuja consular, and he's a solution-oriented cybersecurity analyst and network infrastructure engineer with effective communication and interpersonal skills. He's currently the president of the Urban Professional Toastmasters Club in capital city of Nigeria, Abuja, and he has major skills in cybersecurity, cyber threat hunting, firewalls, IPS and IDS, incident response, SOC operations, risk management, business continuity, disaster recovery, virtualization, servers, Linux, and the likes. So he's a leadership expert, and trust me, he's good with communication. He has worked in several places as a network engineer and he's also very good in Java programming language. He has I think he's CH certified ethical hacker and he's CCNA, and also have offensive security certified professional, although he's in view, so I mean he's still yet to get it. We are very glad to have you, sir. Okay, he joined using the wrong link. Okay, sir, please try using the link I sent to you on WhatsApp. The link you join is for that of the attendees. Okay, so while we wait for him to use it, all right. So Diary of Hackers, we've had 4 different diaries, which features different experts from the field. Diary 1 talks about the opportunities that exist in the cybersecurity space for the enthusiasts, where we feature a reputable SOC analyst from Cyberdome in person of Abdulatif. You can, I'm dropping the link here to our video channel where you can see, in case you have missed videos, the previous demo. All right, sorry. Let's just wait for him for some seconds. All right. So please, the next diary will be from a United Nations diplomat. Well, I will unveil that to you later. So while the next one will be from a net Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria. Just imagine how it's gonna be. So please, I would love you all to stay tuned and join our Telegram group for more information on Diary of Hackers. Also, you can join us on the Telegram group. We have discussions as well. We have movie discussions, book discussions, and different articles. Yeah, so he has joined us. Different articles and news that we discuss on. So please, you are free to join us. So thank you very much, sir, for joining. We have Mr. Jamiu Lekan in the house. So he's going to take over from him here. Thank you all. You can use the chat box, guys, if you want to comment or have a question. You have the floor, sir.
All right, can you hear me?
We can hear you very clearly, sir.
Oh, all right, good. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all well and safe. This is quite an incredible one for me because I'm sure you guys are incredible personality for you to have thought about this initiative, which I think is very amazing because a lot of people could have been doing some other things. You could have been at any other places and you decided to use this your particular time to learn, to understand more and to gain more insight on the field of cybersecurity, which I think that is really incredible. Thank you very much. And I don't know if you guys can see me. I cannot see my own. I don't know where. I was thinking
No,
it's
sir,
going to
we can see
show.
you. Probably you turn the
Okay,
video
you
on,
can
but we
see
can hear
me.
you clearly. Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I see why now.
Yeah.
All right. All right. As I was saying, so the topic for today is cybersecurity as a force for good. I think this topic is really important because a lot of things is happening around the world that we really have to pay a lot of attention to, and a lot of us in cybersecurity has a tremendous opportunity, and the opportunity is actually embedded in the concept of power. We have what I regard as power. We have a lot of power because as a cybersecurity professional, you would probably have access to a number of things that any other person does not have access to. You probably know how you can gain a rogue access to your colleague, your friends, even your girlfriends, a lot of people, and you can do a lot of things. And this is something that is very, very important, and is crucial, and it can define who exactly we would become in the future. And that is why I think this is a really important webinar for us to have, to discuss about how we can use our skill for good and how we can learn what really matters in the field of operation of what we do. But before I go on, I have a little slide there, though I'm not a slide person, but I have a little slide there that would guide me through this particular webinar, because if I speak sporadically like this, I might go on and on without, touching the points that I really wanted to talk about. So can I share a slide, though, for me to see anyway? Hello?
Yes, sir. You can go on, sir.
Okay, I think we did something like that yesterday. Yeah, okay, here.
Yeah, it's on top. Don't screen share on.
Yes, that is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
But the page exactly. The page I'm trying to share. Well, okay. Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, very well, sir. We can.
All right. So the topic for today is cybersecurity as a force for good, and so we are just going to go through all of this. And this particular section is going to be very interactive. I don't know if I can have people asking questions and all of that. I really love to engage my audience and us to share ideas together, because the concept about all of this is that as much as I'm trying to share my own experience in the field, we can always learn from each other. All right. So if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask as I am going through the slide and all of that. You can just type it in the chat box, or you inform the admins of this particular webinar. So I would like by appreciating the organizer of this webinar, Joshua, and all of his team, and all of you guys are online today. Like I said, I think you guys are doing incredibly well, because you could have been at any other places, you could have been doing any other thing, but you decided to learn, you decided to go in deeper in the field of cybersecurity, which I think that is really amazing for you to do. I'm sure that if you continue on this particular path, you would become a subject matter expert and a figure in the field of cybersecurity, and that would be an incredible, and you can be sure that success is always on your own path. So who am I? I'm going to talk about myself a bit. My name is Jamiu Lekan Akande, and I am a cybersecurity specialist and an IT/network infrastructure engineer with a diplomatic mission here in Abuja. I am also a leadership expert and a business evangelist. I love to think and I love to read. I love to read so much. I love reading because I believe that all the books in the world can solve all the problems in the world. But I also realize that you as a person, I as a person, I do not have to read all the books in the world. I only have to read the books that will solve my own particular problem. That means that if I have a problem with a relationship, all I just have to do is to get about 5 books on relationship, and I'll read them, and I'm sure that I would be able to solve those problems. If I have a problem on my interpersonal or my communication skill, or any particular skill that you might talk about, anything that you have a challenge with, you just have to get books on that part, because the concept is that there are some people that have been through those kind of challenges as you are facing today, and they are taking their time to, some of these people that write books, they take 3, 4, 5 years to write books, and then, and some of them are like 50 years old. They have had a lot of experience, and when they wrote those books, they are sharing their thoughts. It's like they are is a kind of they are copying their experience, very short form, in a very arranged and structured manner for you to learn from those experience they've had, and they are sharing them with you. So if you can do that, you can be sure that you will always be able to solve any problem that you might be facing. Either it's cybersecurity, even in cybersecurity, maybe your challenge is malware analysis, or your challenge is reverse engineering, or whatever it is that you might. All right, you just have to take a book on that, and you are going to read it, and you'll be very fine. So moving forward, I am also a global shaper with the Abuja Hub. Global Shaper Community is an initiative of the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum is a forum for world leaders in business, politics, and all of that. So they have a initiative for young people, for young leaders who are driving change, actions, and dialogue in their communities, and is all over the world. I started with the love of Java. When I was in university, then people used to call me Java because and that is why all of my handles, my Instagram, my Twitter, all of them is Lekan Java, because since even before I got admission into university, I've been working on Java then, and that is why people call me Java. Even though I studied mathematics at the end of the day, but this will show you that it doesn't matter what the course that you've studied or what it is that you're actually or studying in school, you can always decide what you want in your life, and you will eventually get it. I have always decided that I want to be in computer science, and even though I had a very skeptical way of thinking about cybersecurity, it was always about hacking and all of that. I never realized a lot of things I know today, which I'll be sharing with you in the course of this webinar. So I started with Java, and today, after that, when I started my full career work, I work as a network engineer with some internet service provider, then network security. Then I went into general cyber, and I went into general IT, then full cyber security. So my handle is Lekan Java on Instagram, Twitter, and my name is Jamiu on Facebook. So the certifications that I have a CCNA, I have CH, I have CISSP, and I'm currently working on OSCP. So I would like to confirm if everyone is hearing me before I continue, please. Can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, we can all hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. Thank you very much. So currently I have CCNA, CH, CISSP, and I'm working on OSCP. I have a number of other certifications which are skill specific. Like I said, I love to read and all of that. So one of the things I've learned over the years also is that if you are looking for a particular skill, or if you are looking to go in a particular field, it's not just about the certifications and all of that. Sometimes you have to copy people that have done those things before, and that is why I read all the time. What I mean by this is that if you are looking to become a SOC analyst, for example, you probably does not need to go and of course you need to do some certifications anyway, but then one of the best way that you can work around that is for you to look for those that are working in those particular skills, and go to their LinkedIn page and learn about what it is that they say they are doing. All right. For example, I think the last person you brought, I've forgotten his name, the guy that worked with I think a bank in Nigeria. He said he works as a full, I think a full SOC or incident response guy or threat analyst, something like that. So you can go to his page and say that, okay, this is what I want to become, and you look at the things that he's doing. So if he tells you that if he writes there that he works on malware analysis, so you know that malware analysis is part of the things that he does a lot. So one of the things that you can really do is for you to now go and learn about malware analysis as a particular course. not just you going for a certification, because you probably not you probably not be able to find a certification malware analysis focused. And if you even find those kind of certification, it might be very expensive because it will be on a very high skilled level. But as a starter, you can just go to YouTube, go to Udemy, and learn about malware analysis. For example, if it tells you that you use Splunk, maybe he's a SOC operation guy, and you too, you are thinking of becoming a SOC operation guy, a blue team guy, you can go on his LinkedIn and see that, okay, SOC operation guy is saying that he used Splunk, would use IBM Curator. You can as well go on YouTube, on Udemy, and search for Splunk, IBM Curator, and the logarithm. This IBM Curator, Splunk, and logarithm, they are tools for security operation, which is part of the things that I do. They are used to, it is basically for visibility of the network and your infrastructure. It makes you see everything that is going on all of your infrastructure, your firewall, your log system on the end host, on the IDP, IDS, your servers, everything. It correlates all of them and aggregate them into a particular screen that you see when you watch all these movies that have a lot of screen. So those are the things that they are gathering into those screens that you are seeing. So to be able to analyze and see what is going on. So these softwares are what they are using: logarithm, IBM Curator, and the rest like that. So you can go ahead and read about those particular tools so that you can understand them. So that is why when you you can go to interview and you will be talking as if you have really worked on all of these tools. I'm speaking this way because I was told that most of the people on this platform, they are most of the people on this platform are undergraduates and guys that just finished universities, recent graduates, and all of that, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct, sir. And a few experts are also here in person of
All right.
Mr. Latif and some other. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Mr. Latif. Great to have you around too. Um, so, as I was saying, so you can learn a particular skills in this regard, so that it won't just be as if you have, for example, if you have your CEH will not talk about you having logarithm and all of this, but then you can go ahead and learn about logarithm on its own. So I'll just continue. So my interest is in leadership and business management. I've always been a person of I always look at myself as a leader, because I believe that leadership is the most important part of any field that you can talk about, because they are the one that set the tone and the direction for everyone to follow. You see, if the leadership is having a lot of challenges, there's no way the guys on the ground floor can do as much, because at the end of the day, everything falls on the back of the leadership. So I care so much about leadership and business management. And my own part of cybersecurity is not just about hacking and doing all of this. I'm more futuristic about how we can set the tone for the leadership of cybersecurity, which I'll also be talking about in the course of this webinar. I also love management and entrepreneurship. I love innovation and team building. I'm a very strong advocate of team building. I believe that you cannot go as much without your team. Your team are the most incredible asset that you have in any kind of settings that you have found yourself. If you can encourage your team, if you can inspire them, if you can engage them in the right sense, you will achieve even more than what you hope to achieve in the first place. So I'm also a critical thinking kind of person. I love to think. I just don't read. I love to think and create my own resources. So moving forward, the objective of this webinar is you will be able to figure out why you wanted to be an hacker. I think this is a really important topic, and a lot of people are doing a lot of things for the wrong reasons. So we need to straighten our reasoning. We need to have the right mindset towards cyber security, so that we can be a force for good, because that's really the aim. You also be able to understand the risks and the personal traits and the gray area. This is about your personal self, all right? Because a lot of things that you can do in other fields, I would tell people all the time that don't try it in cybersecurity, because it's going to hunt you down. It's going to be a source of reference for you as you move forward. I'm going to explain all of those as we move forward anyway. You will also understand the trust. You also understand why trust is the backbone of cybersecurity. You see, trust is the most important part of cybersecurity, and it's of two ways. I'll be explaining that as we move ahead. You also understand why intention is not good enough in cybersecurity, but your action can only be the way forward. You know, we all have intention, but intention is not enough in cybersecurity. You also have to follow it up with the right actions. You learn why cybersecurity could mean nothing. All right. You also learn why cybersecurity could mean nothing. You know, cybersecurity. People look at cybersecurity as, you know, configuring firewalls and all of that. I'll be discussing that as we move ahead, because also, and the last part of this is that you will learn what cyber leadership really means. Let's move ahead. Cybersecurity is the future. Okay, all of you guys are on this platform, and anyone that is into cybersecurity, I can tell you for free that you are in one of the biggest and the most incredible business that you can ever, you know, turn your sight at. Cybersecurity is such an incredible business that you can be, unlike any other field of unlike any other field, or even unlike any other aspect of information technology. Cybersecurity would last as long as information technology exists, because people say that there is a shortage of cybersecurity, but this is just the beginning of it. I give you an example. We are having the concept of IoT recently, and a lot of things are going online. But when you look at it very well, most of these things that are going online doesn't have security in mind. Recently, people are now considering the fact that security must come into play for all of these things that are going online, because there will be the loophole for the system to become vulnerable and to become as hazardous or even a threat to us as a person. For example, cars has a lot of focus on security, but when you look at something like a refrigerator, it doesn't have much of that. But when we have a refrigerator that is connected to the internet, it could also be a threat to us, because a lot of things can be done. The temperature can be increased so dramatically that could, you know, cause fire from the refrigerator or something like that. But people are not really thinking about all those kind of possibilities for now, because it is not much in vogue. But as we move ahead, it's going to be something that will means a lot, and there will be much more need for cyber security. And I can assure you that you will always have a job. That is really sure. It might be somehow hard with the concept of us. I understand that most of us here are in Nigeria, and it might be a bit hard, but don't count on it as much. As we move ahead, cybersecurity in Nigeria is also becoming very, very, very important, especially with the COVID-19 in mind.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Please, can you put your slides in presentation mode, sir? In slideshow mode.
what?
Can you please?
Let me see.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, can you see now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
All right. Okay, so cybersecurity is an extreme power. Act responsibly, and this is part of the things I was talking about when we were talking about the topic that the cybersecurity as a force for good. All right, cybersecurity is an extreme power, and you need to restrain yourself, okay, because you cannot act the way other field might be behaving. Because when you look at cybersecurity, for example, some of your job requires you to learn how to hack into people's phone, into people's system, into a lot of other things. But that does not give you the right and the permission to just do whatever it is that you want. And you have part of your job is to write malware. Part of your job is to do all of these things that that are incredible, that are nice to us as cybersecurity, which is power. Because the other time I was discussing with someone that is like a boss to me, and I was explaining to him that the new car he got, which is a 2020 car, I was telling him that the car was actually vulnerable and this and that. And I was now a friend was now telling me that if you should tell your boss that you could take over his car and drive him into a lagoon, you know how he's going to feel about you. That maybe he's going to actually start respecting you more at work and all of that. And I was telling him that this is really true, but then you have to understand that all of these things are possible for us in cybersecurity, but then you have to restrain yourself. You have to act responsibly, because all of these things are things that you would be held responsible for. There's no other way about it. There's no side way about it. Okay, a very good example is the story of this guy, Marcus Unchins, and the story is really incredible because this guy actually saved the world about 2 years ago, I think 2017 or so, during the time of ransomware and all of that. And later, the guy was arrested because of what he did about 5 years before that time. All right. So this means that no matter what it is that you have done in the past, you could also be held responsible for it. You could also be charged about that, and this could really mean a bad deal for you. The story of Matt. Okay. So, like I said, cybersecurity is extremely important, and it holds a lot of power, and the power is requires a lot of restraint and being more responsible. Like they used to say that with more power, more responsibility is required of you. So we move forward. Why do you want to be an hacker? I really love us to have a kind of interactive section in this part. But I don't know if that is possible, because I would love to know why guys, especially you guys that are just coming out, why do you want to be an hacker? All right, because for example, I personally I used to look at it as being an hacker is being at my house and trying to do a lot of stuff, probably bad stuff most of the time, or doing a lot of research, a lot of that. But recently, I've learned to, as I go older, I've learned to understand that cybersecurity is far more than this. There's so much that you can do, and you don't have to sit in your room trying to use some hoodies and some masks and this and that. Though you can use that when you are practicing and you want to get yourself into the mood, because I've seen a lot of friends does that. They have a separate way of when they want to do their research, and in cybersecurity, dark web, and all of that, they use masks. So just for them to get themselves in the mood. But there's so much that you can do as we even go further in the field of cybersecurity. Just like anything in the world, intention is the first thing that you should have. I don't know, maybe we can have a interactive section, but you can keep your questions and all of that if it's not possible till the end of this session, so that we can just have a kind of discussion together and all of that. So as we move ahead, risks and threats of being a cybersecurity professional. The admin, there was a video that I sent to you. The video, I just want us to look at a particular place. I'm going to call on it very soon. Right, there's a particular place that I actually want us to look at in that video, but I'm just going to talk about this first. So cybersecurity, I believe, is one of the most risky professions that you can ever think of, especially if you are doing the wrong thing, working for the wrong people, or God forbid, you are caught in a crossfire. Last year, Israel Defense Force fired a missile at an 8-story building in Gaza. These guys, they fired a missile on an 8-story building in Gaza because the building was said to be originating some apt attack they could not handle. Apt attack is APT, is advanced persistent threat. Attack is a kind of an advanced threat that requires a lot of skills and a lot of that to actually stop such an attack. So they have been receiving a lot of attacks from that particular building, and they've tracked it down and they fired a missile. So this is what it means. So if you are doing the wrong thing and you think you can just go away with it, or this is about life and death. People life are, and these people money, people business, people, the sovereignty of state and all of that are involved in cybersecurity. You can do as, the horizon is just too wide, and the things that you can do, as much as they are, as wide as they can be, it's also a very risky part to you as an individual, because if you are doing the wrong thing, or if you are working for the wrong guy, you might get yourself in a crossfire. You might get yourself in a very bad situation. And I don't know, can you play the video for me, please? There's a particular place I want you to play for me in that video. No, towards the end of it, where the general was talking.
Warfare in the 21st century.
If
Hello.
you can blind the
not
US
from
military,
right,
shut down our
towards
GPS
the end of it,
and our
when
computer networks,
when the general was
our
talking,
military is basically unable to function. And it could take days or weeks to get those systems back up and running. They can do tremendous damage. They can defeat your armies, your fleets, your air forces by simply blinding them, by taking down their cyber systems. I think that's a huge risk that we face.
A little bit more.
With cyber war, I always think one of the most effective ways
Where that
to
general is
fight
talking.
against cyber is to find the computer and the operator and put a bullet
Okay,
through both of them.
go back a bit. Go back a bit now. Where this man started talking. Hello.
Okay, I should go back.
The sort of barrier to entry.
Yeah, where the general
is
started talking.
quite low. If a country wants to
saying
do
that
something
one of the most
like
effective
build
ways
a
to-
nuclear missile, that's actually quite difficult. But when you talk about withdrawal money, you can imagine people
I think we are
panic
having
starting.
network
People
lag.
trying to get cash. You can't get cash. ATMs aren't working. Then things like
Okay,
your
no
water-based
problem.
treatment
No
plants aren't
problem.
working.
If you
So
cannot do
clean
that, you can
water.
just continue.
It's going to be run on stores. Stores potentially aren't even operating. Your credit card's not going to work at the store. There'll be absolutely mass panic.
If you can blind the U.S. military, if you can shut down our GPS and our computer networks, our military is basically unable to function. And it could
Okay.
take days or weeks to
Stop.
get those systems.
All right, sir.
Okay, have you paused it like that, or you actually stopped it?
It stopped for now.
Okay, that's fine. I will just talk about what the man was talking about. They described a lot of things that can be caused from cyber attack in different magnitude and all of that it can cause havoc in states and all of that. And the general was saying something. He said that one of the most effective way to deal with cyber attack, I don't know, maybe you heard that part, and that is where I wanted to point out. He said one of the most effective way to deal with cyber attack is for you to find the operator and the computer and put a bullet through both of them. That was the part that I actually wanted you to listen to. These are the guys that actually call the shots. And they are telling you that, see, if they can think that the most effective way for them to deal with cyber attack is to find the operator and the guy and the computer and put a bullet through both of them, that means that they are ready to do anything to stop an attack. So you have to understand this whenever it is that you are doing anything, that this is not just something that people are ready to joke about, because this is something that can cause a lot of havoc in the states, can destabilize the government, and it's quite really, really important for us to understand that part, that this game, okay, let me, I'm going to start sharing my screen again. I need to start sharing my screen again. So basically, this is just for you to know that people can go any length for them to stop an attack. So that is why you have to understand that which part do you want to take in this field of cybersecurity as an hacker? What part do you really want to take? All right. So you have to decide that as a cybersecurity enthusiast, or you are just getting started and all of that. You have to keep that at the back of your mind, that it doesn't matter what the kind of money they are offering me, or what the kind of position, or whatever it is. If it's the bad guy that is offering me this kind of money, or I'm going to get this amount of money from it, you have to be very, very careful, because it can mean life and death for some people. Though this what the generals, what's I described that happened last year, I think it was 2019, that a particular building was bombed in Gaza. This is how it has always been, and the general actually confirmed this in his interview. I was saying that you have to find the person. Though the only difference is that it has always been. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We are not seeing your screen.
Hello. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, it's still loading. I don't know why. It's still loading. Yes, it's still loading. Okay, now we have it. So, though the only difference is that it has always been surgical. They always look for the exact person and take the person. They might kidnap the person and all of that. But recently, it has even escalated. They can bomb a whole building because of an attack that is originating from that particular place. So you have to understand that cybersecurity is not just something that you would take with levity. You have to understand that this is something really important. This is a lot of responsibility on you. There's a lot of power on you, and you have to take the right path. You have to take the right decision, and you have to align yourself with the right people, and you have to do the right thing so that even though if anything happens, God forbid, you can say, of course, that I'm doing the right thing. So I move forward. Trust is the backbone of cybersecurity. So we also have to understand that trust is the backbone of cybersecurity, because without trust, the first thing is that without trust, no one is even going to employ you. All right. And trust in cybersecurity is of two sides. I call it the two sides of trust in cybersecurity. The first side of it is the 100% trust that your employer wants from you. They want to be sure that, oh, this guy, does he have any connection to any of these people? Or hope you don't have any connection with any terrorist group or any radical group, or hope you are not engaged in any kind of radical behavior in the past. You don't engage in financial fraud. You don't engage in or threat and the kind of behavior that is considered irrational in the society. So those are the kind of things that the employer wants from you. They want to confirm. That is why some jobs in abroad, in the United States, UK, and all these advanced countries, before you would be employed as a cybersecurity analyst or specialist or whatever it is, you have to be able to you have to get a security clearance, which I think in different places they call it different name, but it's basically security clearance, that they will confirm that this person is of good intent, is this, is that. So a lot of things, a lot of background check will be done on you. A lot of, even some places, they will even conduct a lie detector test for you, that they'll be asking a lot of questions on lie detectors, so that they can confirm that, yes, this guy is truly what he says he is, and they can actually confirm that you are the right deal for them, because they don't want to. Because when you get into the field of cybersecurity, you see that you have access to a lot of information. For example, if you are working in a security operations center, you probably have access to a lot of things, even things that about the CEOs, the top guys that probably guys that you might not even be able to meet face to face. You have access to them because you are in security operations center, and you have access to a lot of things. So this is something that requires a lot of trust. So from now, especially for guys that are just starting, I'm sure people like Latif will tell you the same thing, that if you are starting, the best way for you is just to make sure your records are clean, and you put yourself you make yourself an open book. People can see you very clearly that, okay, this guy, this is what he stands for, and this is what it's all about. And the other side of it is a zero trust at work. All right. In cybersecurity, you have to be very careful about the kind of things that you do. I trust my friend, I trust everyone, they are my friends, but at work, I don't really care what you think. All right. If you tell me that the manager or the CEO or the business owner asks you to tell me that I do this particular thing or this, I will still go and confirm. I could remember very clearly, there is a story, I think it was during the time of John F. Kennedy, and there was having a number of issues with the Russian president then, and they told him something. I just want to bring out this particular point. He said that I trust you, but I still have to confirm these things. All right. Even though you trust those people, you still have to confirm. You still have to cross check. You still have to make sure that those orders are coming from the right places and they are from the right place. That is why in some cases you will see people that talk about social engineering and all of that. When they receive emails, they will still call the person that sent the email to them that, is it true? Are you telling me to do this? Are you telling me to do that? That is because they have zero trust. And even in cybersecurity now, there are some technologies. I think, what technology was that? I think, is it not NG? Some kind of technology are now that they have zero trust kind of platform, that whatever it is, it treats everything that is coming into the network as malicious. I've forgotten the particular name. It treats it as malicious until it is proven not to be malicious. All right. So unlike the traditional way, I'm sure people that configure firewalls will understand this part, that unlike the traditional way that you see that, okay, address from this particular place is okay, you whitelist it, address from this particular place is okay, address, but this kind of technology, what they do is that they treat everything malicious until it has been proven otherwise. So that is the kind of mindset that you want to have in cybersecurity. You have to treat everything as you have to be very careful with everything. Some of the time, when I receive some emails, when I receive even WhatsApp messages and all of that, I wouldn't open them until I was able to move them to my sandbox and text that is this thing really fine or not before I move ahead. Sometimes people will say that maybe I'm becoming paranoid or something, but it's just this kind of mindset of having zero trust for anything and anything that comes through to you, because you don't want to, have a loophole in your network and your system that can, cause havoc to the people that you're working for, or organization, or can even put you at a mess. Because most of the time, for someone like me, even if I have issues on my personal system and all of that, I probably not be able to move it to the place I'm working, because all of these things are blocked from each other. There's no access for me to, but then you still have to do them as your due diligence and your due care on your own part as a cybersecurity analyst. Okay, I think I've spoken about all of these things on this page, so I'll just move forward. So in cybersecurity, intention is not enough. So intention is not enough. What I mean by this is that everyone has intention. The same intention is the start of anything that you want to do. But in cybersecurity, you really have to back it up with your actions, and you have to be very conscious of the kind of things that you do. And because intention can be a fickle business. A fickle business is a business that is very tricky. And there's a story of a man that really interests me that I would love to share with you. His name is Thomas Midgley. Can everyone hear me? Please, I would love to confirm again. Can you hear me? Am I still online with you guys? Hello? Hello? Oh. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just want to confirm before I continue again. So the story of Thomas Midgley, I would love to share the story of Thomas Midgley with you. It was in the 30s. Refrigerator requires a lot of highly combustible chemicals like ammonia, propane, which were incredibly dangerous. As of that time, for you to have a refrigerator, it requires all these chemicals, ammonia, propane, which were very dangerous then. Then a chemist named Thomas Midgley devised a replacement compound that we all know as Freon today. All right, it was this guy that actually discovered this chemical Freon, and this innovation idea saved a lot of life as of the time, and it was a incredible innovation for him. It was a very good time for him. But 50 years after his death, the scientific community was appalled to realize that Freon has been ripping holes in our ozone layer, causing irreparable harms. So particularly, this guy actually developed a particular compound that replaced a more dangerous one. But the compound that he discovered, that he came out to be one of the most dangerous compounds to the ozone layer. And Midgley turned out to become one of the most destructive figure. But don't forget, Midgley is just a man with good intention to improve the world. So this guy is just a very good guy that wanted to improve the world around him, and he wanted to do a lot of good. But then what he was actually doing was very, very hazardous to the world entirely. So these are the kind of things that you have to have in mind, because your intention is not just, you might have intention to do good, but if what you are doing is not good, you might actually be in the wrong side of history. So we have to also consider the fact that intentions alone cannot get us to where we are going. So cybersecurity as a business enabler. So this is one of the most interesting topic for me, because I'm more of a business leader. I think about business all the time. And one thing I've noticed about most of the cybersecurity professionals, I'm not even talking about the hackers and all of that alone, the cybersecurity professional most of the time, you see, they always tell us that they wanted to configure a firewall, they wanted to do this, they wanted to do that, They wanted to buy an IDP, an IDS. We needed next generation firewall. We needed these. All of this technology, they are nice, they are sweet, they are things that is going to help the business if possible. But then, why do we really need all of these things? And that is where it comes to the guy that is a cybersecurity business leader. Because if you tell us that you want to configure a firewall, I as a business owner, the CEO, what I'm going to ask you is that why are we even configuring the firewall? Why do we even need the firewall? So as a business leader, as a cybersecurity professional, you also have to understand that business is the core asset that you're trying to protect. And whatever it is that you're building for the business must enable the business. So if you tell for example, if you just tell the CEO that, we need to configure this firewall, the CEO is probably going to ask you that, why do I need to spend 2 million on the firewall? But if you can explain to him that, see, our website is vulnerable and we are receiving a lot of malicious content coming through and all of that, which can put our website down. And if our website goes down, we might lose business for about 5 hours before we were able to put it back up. So this means that in the next 5 hours, we might not be able to sell anything on our platform. And from my own calculation, I've discovered that we are going to lose this number of customers as during that time. Maybe you are going to lose about 5,000 customers that won't be able to have access to our online platform to buy what we are selling. So now, those 5 hours that we are offline, which could mean about 36 million lost of money to us. So if you can explain this to a business owner in this way that, okay, we are going to lose about 36 million, but we can buy a firewall for 2 million and implement it and to protect ourselves from losing 36 million, then a business owner understands this part. CEO understand this part. But if you just tell them that you want to install firewall, they will tell you that, okay, there's no firewall. We are not installing anything. So you have to come to them from the angle of business, not as the angle of a technical guy that just wants to, install the firewall, install the IDPs, install the IDS and all of that. So you have to talk to them from the perspective of, we want to enable the business. We want to make the business to become resilient to attack. When there is an attack, the firewall is going to stop it. When there is an attack, the IDP is going to notify us, and we can be able to clean and contain such an attack in an effective manner. So cybersecurity is about protecting the business, not security on its own. There's this particular, I don't know. Okay, as we move ahead. So from us, cybersecurity is about enabling the business. So the hierarchies of cybersecurity in organization, we might probably have a CEO, CIO, CISO. In organization, there are different ways that they arrange all of these things. The chief information officer, the chief information security officer, the directors, manager, head, engineer, analyst. All of these things, some organization does not have it. Might just be from CEO to manager of cybersecurity or head or engineer and all of that. So then you have to understand that what is your role and what are the efforts that you are putting to make sure that the business continues to stay in business. Because as soon as the business goes out of business, forget about cybersecurity. The cybersecurity part of the business is also going out of business. So it is part of your job, whichever way you find yourself, that as a cybersecurity professional, I am a business enabler, and my job requires me to make sure that the business stay afloat and the business stay in profit. So there's a very awesome way of describing cybersecurity, and the awesome way is that cybersecurity is like a brake in a car. All right, cybersecurity is like a brake in a car. The essence of cybersecurity is like a brake in a car. What this means that a brake in a car is not for the car to move slowly. The brake in the car is for the car to move very fast. You can imagine if you don't have a brake in a car, you probably be moving at maybe as slow as anything, as slow as possible for you to remove your leg from inside the car to stop the car from moving. That is how slow you'll be moving if there's no brake in the car. That means that if there's no brake in the car, you'll be moving so slowly that you'll be able to remove your leg and stop the car with your leg. All right? But if there's a car, if there's a move as fast as possible, you can move at a very high speed, knowing that there's a protective kit for you, that whatever wants to happen, if you need to stop, you can easily press on the brake and slows down and stop without any harm to yourself. This is the best way to describe cybersecurity in business, in organization, wherever it is you find yourself, in government and in personal life. Cybersecurity is for you to be able to do as much as you can with so much assurance, that yes, if anything bad wants to happen, I have cybersecurity that will protect me from this, just like brake will do when you are driving. So cybersecurity leadership. So cybersecurity risks. Well, we all understand what cybersecurity risks means. Cybersecurity risks is not just a security risk, but a business risk. All right. When we look at cybersecurity, it's not just it's business. It's not just a cybersecurity, but actually a business risk. When we experience a DDoS attack on our website, on our infrastructure, on our servers, and it becomes unusable for us, it's not just the cybersecurity that is becoming unusable, but the whole business itself. The business is going down and business is becoming unusable. So cybersecurity leadership is all about the business leadership and, creating a way for the business. Recently, I spoke with one of my mentors in United States. He was the head of cybersecurity program, postgraduate program in cybersecurity at University of Washington, and he was discussing, and he just made mention of it when we were talking that two of his colleagues that are in corporate environments became the CEO of the organization. Because when you are a cybersecurity guy, you are a leader on your own. You are a business leader. You are a business person. You understand the business risks, the business perspective, and you are open to enable and to make the business even go further. So that is the kind of mindset that a cybersecurity person should have, which would be a force for good, that you can become anything at anywhere. That means that you can become the leader in any organization that you find yourself, and you can create a kind of environment that is much more livable for us in this era of cyber and information technology. So the same thing I wrote here, for you to become a cybersecurity leader, you must become a business leader. So hacking can make you become a subject matter expert, a pen tester, but not a cybersecurity leader. For you to become a cybersecurity leader, you need more skills than your penetration testing skill, like more than your hacking skill, more than your malware skill. But then it still depends on where you want to go. If your aim is to become a pen tester for the next 20, 30, 40 years, at 50, you want to still continue pen testing and all of that, you might necessarily not need much of this. But then even with that, you still need to communicate with your friends if you are working for people. And if you're not working for people, if you're on your home, probably you might be able to survive without some of these skills. So for you to become a cybersecurity leader in the nearest future, as you go older in the field, you have to have some skill. And top on the list is the communication skill. You have to be able to communicate in a clear and succinct way. You have to make people understand exactly what you are saying. You have to make it very clear, very obvious, and very straightforward, so that the people that you are working with, they can understand. Cybersecurity professional will face a particular challenge, and the challenge is the issue of when you do training for your fellow staff and colleagues, when you do training for them and you tell them about don't click on any attachment that you don't know where it's coming from, don't do this, don't do that, and at the end of the day, you still conduct a kind of test, you conduct a pen test, and you send email to the receptionist, and you'll be so amazed at how fast she's still going to click on those attachments and all of that. Because probably the challenge most people have is the ability to communicate those things to them in a very succinct manner. You just don't tell them this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. You have to explain to them the reason behind it and the cause and the effects of those things they are doing. You have to make them understand that this building can be as secure as anything, but if you click on those files, you can make us lose business, you can make us lose our infrastructure, you can make us lose our time and our productivity in this organization. You have to make them understand in details what are the risks that are involved, so that they can know. And then you have to tell them what are the threat and the repercussions of whatever it is that they do. All right. And most of the time, it has to come from the top down. It has to be a top down approach, so that it will be well accepted by the people that you are explaining this thing. So as a cybersecurity specialist and a leader, if you are open to become one, and if you are open to become someone that push a much effective cybersecurity world, you will probably need to learn the skill of communication, people skill, the ability to deal with people, to talk to people, to interact with people, to learn from people, to manage people. Then your interpersonal skill, almost the same thing. Your management skill, your ability to manage, they must know you that when you tell them that this thing is going to happen, we are going to implement this. You must be the guy that manages such an occasion and gets it. You must also be a result-oriented person and much more. as we move ahead and do all of these things, I'm sure that we will learn and understand what are required of us as we forge ahead in the field of cybersecurity. Okay, so I think this comes to the very end of this webinar. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that I would love to share, but then I think I should have questions here so that we can have a more interactive section. I've been talking and talking. I think questions should come and we'll probably have an interactive session.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for this quite interesting presentation. Please, we can drop our questions for him to answer.
I'm sure. As I thought the question has been dropping since now. What is happening? So any question? So cybersecurity as a force for good.
Okay, yeah.
I'll
I
also be
just
having more.
there's a question that was asked after one of the speaker that in Nigeria we are known for what we call Yahoo
Okay.
Yahoo. Like, then how do you think
Okay.
what's the prospect of all these Yahoo boys becoming useful for the government in terms of trying to catch these guys and then turn them into ethical hackers that can protect the national infrastructure and the image of the country?
I think this is a really interesting topic because I should I say I'm unfortunate or fortunate to have met a lot of these guys, a lot of these so-called Yahoo guys and all of them. I've met a lot of them, and what I notice is that these guys are really smart guys. They're extremely smart guys, and they are people that could be of highly beneficial to the government and to the whole IT infrastructure of the country. To be sincere with you, these guys are extremely smart, believe me. But the challenge we are having in Nigeria is very similar. In Nigeria, in regards to cybersecurity, is very similar to the challenge that you have in every other field, uh, every other field of life that we have in Nigeria currently. Is the issue of appreciation. Do we have a infrastructure that appreciates the efforts of the people? So those are the kind of questions that you want to ask yourself. Do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the employer that is going to employ them? Do you have the national government infrastructure that is going to take these guys in and turn them to be for the benefit of the country? Do we have all of these things? So if we have all of these things, it would have been easy for us to try to turn them and make them see why it is exceptionally good for them to be the good guy in this kind of court. But we probably do not have most of these things, and it has become a kind of pandemic, and it's quite undeserving. It's quite terrific and sad to see young guys, young men become fraudulent in the course of making impact, and they are very smart. But then, what can we do about them? So what I usually tell them all the time when I meet them is that there's always a way for you in good. All right, you can always be a force for good. You can always decide to do the right thing. You can always decide to do the right thing. You can always decide to to make impact in the society, and you can. But then you see, this is a very tricky place. I've spoken to one of them in the past and told me that it is because I have a job, that's why I'm talking this way. That he is not sure of, he's not sure if I would be doing this if I don't have a job for 5 years. All this kind of talk will actually, it's actually thought provoking, and it makes you feel somehow about yourself and the whole situation we found ourselves in the country. However, I believe that we are making little steps, not like law, but those little steps. I hope that soon enough it will turn to giant step that will lead the country IT, cyber infrastructure of the country into the right direction that will enable us to be able to talk to these people and bring them back to do good. And some of them might not even be able to do this because they have committed a lot of crime because the justice will also have to take its course no matter what happens. So which is part of the things that I'm saying, that no matter what you do today, don't think that you will escape them. Just like the case of Marcus Hutchins, what he did 5 years ago still came back, even after he became an hero that stopped a kind of worldwide kind of cyber threat. So we all have to have this in mind as well. So that is what I think about it. And like I said, we just have to hope that we start making giant stride in the right direction as a country soon enough.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. There's a question here that for someone working for government, what part of information security will you advise the person to delve into?
So this is a very tricky one. It depends on the part of government that you are working with and what the arm of government is doing. All right. I believe that there are some government agency that what they need. It depends on what they need and what you want. All right. That's what I tell people. What do they need and what do you want as a person? All right. What do they need? If they need a pen tester, if you are working on becoming a risk compliance and governance guy, you might probably not be able to haze the right promotion that you need. But if they need a pen tester and you're working on the pen tester, you might become the lead pen tester and you might get the promotion that you need. So, but in average, I believe that if you are working for government, on just not looking deep into it, I believe that GRC will be the best part for you. That is government risks and compliance, because most cases government will deal with all these kind of risks and compliance. The audits, they do a lot of these kind of things. Well, with my understanding of, though we don't have much of that here, I've never seen it, but with my understanding of how they work abroad and all of that, that is what they usually need. That is where they'll be talking about your security clearance before you know your information, before you go. Then you are going to create a kind of systemic approach to things on how we can safeguard our people, our infrastructure in the city. What are the kind of infrastructure that should be in place? For example, in places like Europe, for example, there are a lot of guys of compliance rules that are coming out in regards to personal identifiable information. So those guys in government are the ones that are coming up with those rules that they implement as a country that must be abide by any complaint that you might talk about, or any person that's inside of the European Union. So basically, that is the way it is basically.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I have a question here. What level of programming skills is required to be a cybersecurity expert? Is it a prerequisite for having a successful career in cybersecurity?
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is also a very important question that I get all the time. And even this particular question is not just the fact that I get it all the time. I was part of the people that asked this question so many times in the past as well. And what I've discovered in the past is that, see, programming is exceptionally important for cybersecurity professionals. Programming is too important, but you have to identify yourself. You cannot be everything. Are you the kind of guy that loves programming? All right. Are you the kind of guy that loves programming? You love programming, and you will become so much, sought after. All right. If you love programming, learn programming, and get it along with your cybersecurity skill, it's going to be an added advantage for you, and it's going to be very interesting for you. All right. If you love programming, but if you are unable to learn programming, because I've seen people that they find it really hard to learn programming. A lot of my friends that are into networking, they don't like programming. They don't. And at the end of the day, some of them went to network security like and they went into cybersecurity, and they still do not learn programming. All right. But then you just have to understand what you need. So if you see those kind of guys, they are in cybersecurity, but then they have come from network because they don't like programming. They did network, server infrastructure, and all of this kind of thing. So when you see them, most of the time you see them configuring the firewalls, the IDPs, the IDS. They are implementing controls. They are doing a lot of implementation of controls in the security architectures. They will do that effectively and they will be fine as well. Some of them will even go to risk governance and compliance, which I am also in. and they will be doing extremely well as well. All right, but if you know programming, then their path might be moving towards becoming a malware analysis, penetration tester, because you need programming in those kind of area of pen testing, core ethical hacking, malware analysis, reverse engineering, because you need to look at the code and understand what is going on and try to reverse it and try to see how the code is behaving and all of that. So day two, they will be very fine. Like I said, someone asked me a question very recently, and that's how do you survive in cybersecurity? Let me put it that way. And what I told him was, to my own understanding of things right now, is two ways. Is either you become a leader or you become a programmer. That is the way I see it currently. You become a leader in the sense that you learn skills, other skills like public speaking, like communication skills, like leadership skills, and you implement it in your cybersecurity. Don't worry, when you do that, you can even go as fast as possible to become managers, CISO, CIO as fast as possible, because you will be the interpersonal person from the business owner, which is like the CEO, to the technical guy. All right. On the other side of it is programming side, which is like the pen testers and all of that. But no matter how much the pen tester is getting or how much is required in an organization, the malware analysis guy, the reverse engineer guys, and all of that, they still need a cyber leader to communicate their challenges, their whatever it is they are doing to the business owner. I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say now. So even if you're a pen tester and all of that, you understand all of the programming, you still need a guy that understands the communication and the leadership part that will help you, that will speak on behalf of you, and will also have the interest of the business owner in mind, so that both of you and all of you can work hands in hands. So that's just the way I see it for now.
Okay, sir, thank you. We have 15 more minutes to go. So, and there are some questions here. The next one is, thank you for this thought-provoking session, sir. My question is, how does one build a strong ethics profile considering the high rate of scam going on in the country?
Okay. Okay, please, the question come again. I want to understand where it's coming from.
Okay. How does one build a strong ethics profile considering the high rate of scam going on in the country?
So what I'm trying to understand is like ethics profile might come from the fact his own ethics profile from the fact that he wants to be an ethical person, he wants to be a high moral standard person, a disciplined person as a cybersecurity professional, or is it what he's trying to build? Is he trying to build it in himself personally, or he wants the world to view him as a person that has a strong ethics standard? There are two parts to it, but maybe I should just talk about the two of them. So the first part of it is that you as a person, you want to build a moral standard and an ethics in this kind of situation. That is, you are seeing all of your friends moving to Yahoo and all of that, but you have decided in your own situation that I will not do this. All right. So I believe that one of the ways that you can do this is that, see, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I can tell you that for free. But then the first thing you have to do is your decision that you have made, that this is the kind of person that I want to be. If you decide that this is the kind of person that you want to be, it might be tough, it might be long, but you will get something far more better than the guys that they took the shortcut. It's just like doing a ritual. All right. If you have decided that, see, I'm going to get rich and I'm not going to do ritual. All right. A lot of your friends might be doing a lot of things, getting this, and they are becoming rich. They are buying Benz and all of that. But you've decided that you are not going to do that because your moral and your discipline kind of values, your values that you hold very dear, does not speak to those kind of things. So that means you will never do it. And as you move ahead in life, as you go, as you learn, as you struggle, and have this kind of right mindset to things, you'll become a force for good, and people will appreciate you for it, and they will, offer you even far more than those people. And you would be on the safer side of history. You will be on the safer side of history. You won't be looking at your back while you move on the street and all of that, because these guys that are involved in all this kind of illegal activities and without the morals and the ethics of the profession, at the end of the day, they will be very scared. You see them, they don't come out as well as that. They probably will not come out. They probably will not, you will not see them. They cannot go with their family on a date into a park and all of that, because they probably get arrested because they are involved in malicious activities online, and FBI is looking for them. This is looking for them. So those are the kind of situations that they find themselves. If you don't want to find yourself in those kind of situations, you have to just create this kind of moral standard from inside of yourself. And the world has become so digital now. If you create that kind of a profile for yourself, the opportunity is so much for you, because you can leave the country, you can go any other places, and you still find a job and you still be happy with your life. The other side of it is people viewing you as that person that is moral. And the best way for you to do it is just to speak about it. You have to talk about those things that are very important to you, that, okay, the ethics of cybersecurity are this and that, and you must follow them. You must show that part of ethical behavior in your society, so that to your friends, to your colleagues, so that people can trust you and people can say that this is the kind of person that you are. For example, I have a number of guys that they have come to me to talk about how there's a lot of things that we can do online about cyber kind of malicious activity and cyber fraud and all of that. And you make them understand that, see, I'm not for those kind of things. All right. So when you make them understand, they now have a view of you. And from them, people will start to know that, okay, this guy stood for something very strong, and which is for the what, for the moral standard, for being a force for good. And that is just the way to go about it. That way, you will always gain the respect of people in your society, and with time, you will become a known person as the right person to get the job done ethically.
All right.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. I still have like 3 questions to go. The next one is, as regard business, what small scale cybersecurity business can you suggest?
Small scale cybersecurity business. I think I was watching one of your
maybe for a student now,
one of the webinars, one of the diaries that you've done in the past. I think I had a guy talking about when you guys were in Footmina, that when he was in Footmina, people used to refer to them as cyber cafe guys. This. It was quite funny, and to be sincere with you, I don't think of anyone right now, but something that I'm very much aware of is your ability to have this business mindset, no matter what field you have found yourself. One of them is you might and don't try to be misguided. All right, some of them might not even make money for you immediately. It might be over the time, and it might not even make money for you directly. It might just be the respect that it makes for you, and the kind of believe that it's actually encompasses in you that you can get things done. For example, this initiative of what you guys have started here is one of the best things that you guys can do. All right, these are diaries of Aka. It might not be making money for you immediately, but the respect and the kind of optics that people view you from over the time, and people will start to see you as people that knows what they are doing, and people that can be dependable on, and people that have vision, and people that can get things done. So it might not be money in direct format, but this kind of initiative like what you have started here is one of the greatest and one of the best ideas that I can give to students that are just starting. So apart from that, you can as well start something in that line, like a cybersecurity company, something even as small as saying that you are a social media retriever, something like that. All right, you tell them that if your social media is being hacked or this or that, you can retrieve it for anyone. A lot of ladies, their social media is being hacked all of the time, and even guys, not the ladies, but I notice they hack a lot of ladies almost all the time. You see them changing Instagram account, changing WhatsApp, changing all of that, because so if you can put yourself in that kind of scenario, that is a small business that you can be doing. Saying that I can retrieve your WhatsApp for you for 5,000, for 2,000. Your Instagram account has been hacked, I can recover it for you. Your email, I can recover. So those are the kind of things. So now it now depends on you on how you want to do your research, learn about the things that how these guys that are taking over the accounts, what they are doing, and how you can recover them. So whenever they call you, so it will start with your friends from school, maybe a lady in the department of accounting, it comes to you because you have been saying that this is what you do. Say that they ask my, so you say that, okay, I'll do it for you for 2,000, for 1,000. You get it done, and people will start getting to know you, and people will start, starting to believe in you that you can get this thing done. So I don't. So this is one of them, and one other way that I think that you should also look into is that I'm not directly an idea builder in such, but whenever I want to think of an idea and I want to think about ways that I can make money, what I do is that I read books. When I read books, idea keeps coming because you never know, sharing idea of a 50-year-old man that has been everywhere around the world and is telling you a number of things can spark ideas in you to, like this guy said, Tupac said that I might not be able to change you that might change the world. So that is what I really think. Just keep learning, keep thinking about the good things that you can do and start a way to monetize them. And if you cannot monetize them, just keep doing the good work. People will recognize you for what you are, and over the time, you will start earning so much from that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have to move quickly. Okay, this question is from Latif Hamza. He said, what do you have to say about organizations, that is public and private, that are still seeing cybersecurity as a one-off investment? How can one make them understand that yearly budget allocation to cybersecurity is the way to ensure safety of the organization?
Please come again. Come again.
What do you have to say about organizations, that is public and private, that are still seeing cybersecurity as a one-off investment? How can one make them understand that yearly budget allocation to cybersecurity is the way to ensure the safety of the organization?
Okay, so this is a very interesting question. This is an incredible question, to be sincere with you. And this question has been asked a number of times. And I will tell you the things that I've seen, even people that are far more expert than me, they are facing. All right. This kind of idea is what we call project-based idea. They see cybersecurity as a project that they need to execute, and it must have a finish point. A project must have a beginning and it must have an end. All right. So they see cybersecurity as a project. So when they want to invest in cybersecurity, they will see that when will you conclude it? So you have to make them understand that this is not something that you have to conclude and all of that. But the best way that I've seen people understand the value and the importance of cybersecurity has been a process rather than a project. All right. The best way that I've seen people understand cybersecurity as a process and not a project is when an attack happens. And it's not just about me saying this. I've seen people all over the world, Canada, US, and all of that, 20, 25 years of experience. They will say that, see, it is hard to get budget for cybersecurity. It is hard to get a recurring budget for cybersecurity. But when the attack happens, don't worry. They will start calling you. They will start signing everything for you. They will start signing everything and they will start taking it very serious. Most of the time when you are explaining these things to them, they will not understand until they feel the effects of cyber security in their business. That is what Mr. Latif has been telling us is actually true. What Mr. This has been telling us is actually true. And now I think we have to. So they will now ask you that, what should we do? Then you now tell them. They want to listen then. All right? Because you have been telling them for a number of years that, see, we have to do this, we have to do that. They're saying that, there is no budget. The budget is tight. This is it. We cannot, you cannot. So when it happens, they will now understand. Like this COVID-19 has made a lot of companies to become aware of the need of cybersecurity. So that is what I think about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. What is the best and easiest way to land a cybersecurity job in Nigeria?
There's no best and easy way to land a cybersecurity job in Nigeria. The best way that I think, in my own experience, is that don't say that you want to land a cybersecurity job by fire by force. Get into IT. If you are a starter, if it's a network engineer job that you can get, if it's an IT support job that you can get those jobs first. Then now create your needs. Start doing certification. Okay, now you finished and you are looking for cybersecurity. How many cybersecurity companies do we have in Nigeria yet, sir? You understand? right?
Yeah,
So
not
this is a very
much. Yeah.
tight corner for us in the
Yeah.
country. It's just starting to improve and all of that. So if you can get an IT support job, a desktop management job, a software developer job, get those. Then now create a niche for yourself that, okay, within the next 6 months, I want to take CA certification. I want to learn about malware analysis. I want to learn about logarithm. I want to learn about SOC operation. I want to learn about risk management. I want to do this certification in cybersecurity. So when you do all of that, when they need a guy that maybe a SOC analyst level 1 and they are looking for guys, when 10 IT support engineer applied and they see that you particularly have done CEH, for example, you just passed CEH 6 months ago, and you told them again that you're also learning malware analysis or reverse engineering or something, they will count you, they will take you very seriously that, okay, this guy has been working to move into cybersecurity, and then they can now employ you and get you into the field. I think that is the best way and the approach to go about landing a cybersecurity job in Nigeria if you are not yet in the core field of cybersecurity.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. The last question here is, how relevant is the knowledge of computer networking to cybersecurity field?
What?
How relevant
Hello?
is the knowledge of computer networking to cybersecurity field?
So computer networking skill is extremely important to cybersecurity. And I say it's extremely important because when you look at cybersecurity, cybersecurity is about some guys trying to break down your system, trying to uh, to to hack into your network, to conduct some kind of malicious activities on your network. And let me make you understand that when they are doing that, they are not doing that just for fun. What they are trying to achieve exactly is that they want to get into your network so that they can retrieve some information about what you are doing. For example, you are a pharmaceutical company and you have been working on you are a pharmaceutical company and you have been working on a kind of research on a drug for coronavirus for the past 10 years. The investors that are giving you the money, maybe they have spent about $10 billion on your company to find a cure to maybe HIV/AIDS or something like that, all right? And they have been spending so much, and your doctors, your researchers, PhD guys, all of them, they have been working for the past 10 years to get a result for this particular thing. So they have been working, they have a system they use in their lab, they have been keeping their research on that system, the chemicals, they are breakthroughs, and now you have actually gotten to the end of the tunnel. You have been able to get a drug, a vaccine for HIV or any of this kind of disease, for example. All right, and you're about to go to the market, create this drug in a very large quantity and start selling to make your money back, pay your investor back, and become an amazing company that you are supposed to be because you have actually worked for it. And some guys just came around from anywhere in the world. They hacked into your system, copy the research that you have been doing, take it to China or whatever it is. They created the drugs in and they start selling it. So those guys, they don't invest $10 billion that you have spent over the last 10 years, the kind of effort and everything. So they will spend this, they will sell the drug for any amount, and they will fuck your company up totally. All right. So that is why we need cybersecurity to prevent such an occurrence from happening. We don't want someone to steal our hard-earned work. For example, a very good example of it also is like maybe you are an ISP, you're an ISP in Nigeria, maybe probably you are giving internet to a particular company for maybe 500,000. Maybe it's 10 Mbps that you are giving them for 500,000 for a month. Okay, if hacker can get in your network and steal the name of your customers and the pricing, maybe they now see that as an ISP you are selling 10 Mbps to bank A for 500,000. They can sell those information to bank B. You never know. The chief marketing officer of another ISP can buy such an information, get the information and say that, okay, so this ISP that is our competitor is selling 10 Mbps to this bank A for 500,000. So the chief marketing officer of that ISP B that has bought your information of your clients, of your customers, can approach the bank A that you have been selling internet to and meet them that, see, I can sell 10 Mbps to you for 400,000 for a month. So the way the chief financial officer will look at it, or the business owner will look at it, will be like, This is a gain of 100,000 for us every month. In a year, that is 1.2 million we are saving. So even they can say that, okay, if you can test it for us and make sure that the internet is as good as the people that we are using now, we'll come to your network. So they can give them a pro bono of 1 month to test it, and before you know it, they will snatch your customer. That is the kind of challenges we have in cybersecurity. Now, how do these malicious intenders and threat actors get those information? And that is the question that the person had, where I'm going now. They get those information by hacking into the network. And how do they get into your network to hack and get those information? It is through the network. So they get those information through the network by getting into your network. So the network is the passage, is the road, all right, to all of this information. What we are trying to protect in cybersecurity is the information, and the road to those information is the network. So now I'm sure you can understand the usefulness and the importance of network in cyber. The network is the road to the information that the cyber security guys are trying to protect. So network is extremely important. You have to understand it. You have to understand it to the core. You have to understand a lot of things about the network. But if you don't understand as much, you can learn as you go and all of that. But network is extremely important when it comes to network, to cyber security, because it's the road to the information you are trying to protect in that sense. I hope this explanation is not too long. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. In fact, I feel so overwhelmed. This session is mind blowing. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining in this session. Trust me, somebody is just saying that this is just too good to be had just once. So we'll make the video available on the YouTube channel so that you can hear and hear and hear. Anytime I want to feel motivated, I'll go there and download so that I can hear again. Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful session. It's been an amazing time with you. Please, if you have any question, you can drop it on our Telegram, which will be addressed to the /diaries.com. We have some information there. You can also follow us on our Twitter on @Diary of Hackers, and also on Facebook. We are there. Thank you very much, sir, for this amazing session. Thank you, Mr. Latif. Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Afiz, Ayolua, Benson, Femi, Zachary, Adeyemo, everybody, Upong. Thank you very much for coming. Please, let's spread the word. Our next session is coming on Saturday. Let's try to invite as many people as possible. As I've said earlier, it's going to be a cyber diplomat that will be on session. So please, let's post in our school group, any tech community that we are, so that we can reach thank you very much, all. Thank you very much, sir. Any last words, sir, for us?
I think you guys. Firstly, I would just have to say that you guys are doing an incredible job with this. I think this is an amazing opportunity for you guys to learn more, and all of your friends and colleagues and a lot of other people. So this is amazing. Thank you very much for making this happen with your team and all of the people that have saved their time to be here. I've seen a lot of respected persons on this platform, Mr. Johnson, Mr. John, Mr. Latif, and every other person. You are such an incredible person, and every other person that is here to learn too. You could have been at any other places, but you decided to come and learn. I think this is the best investment that you can give to yourself. And personally, I feel cybersecurity is one of the greatest things that happens in this generation. And for us that we are in this part of in this field, I think we are very much lucky. I just feel like we should continue to learn more and to be an ambassador of cybersecurity as a force for good. I mean, we should be an ambassador of the cybersecurity as a force for good, and we can. The sky is not enough. We can always be whatever it is that we want to be. So thank you very much once again, and I'm glad to be part of this today. Yeah, good. Hello? Hello?
All right, sir. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.